Everyone suffers. Here's how to find peace. That voice in your head right now, the one that never shuts up, constantly judging, worrying, and replaying your worst moments on an endless loop. You're not the only one it's tormenting. In fact, right this second, billions of people across the planet are trapped in the same mental prison you are, fighting thoughts that feel impossible to escape. That CEO in the corner office, secretly battling crippling anxiety. That influencer with the perfect life, crying herself to sleep at night. That friend who seems to have it all together. His mind is a war zone of self-doubt and criticism. What if I told you that 2,500 years ago, a man sitting under a tree discovered the ultimate hack to break free from this universal suffering? Not through positive thinking, not through medication, not through avoiding pain, but through a radical understanding of how your mind actually works. The Buddha uncovered something so powerful, so transformative, that it's survived millennia and might just be the exact solution you've been desperately searching for. And here's the mind-blowing part. The answer isn't about fixing your thoughts. It's about completely changing your relationship to them. Still think your suffering is unique? Still believe you're somehow broken beyond repair? Still convinced that peace of mind is for everyone else but you? By the end of this video, you'll discover why these beliefs are the very chains keeping you trapped, and exactly how to break them once and for all. This isn't some spiritual theory. It's practical, it's powerful, and it works whether you're religious or not. So ask yourself, what if everything you believe about your thoughts is wrong? What if freedom has been within your reach all along? Buckle up, because what you're about to learn might just save your life. Buddhist understanding of suffering. Here's a truth bomb that will shatter everything you believe about your pain. The Buddha discovered that you're suffering not because life is hard, but because you're fighting reality itself. In life, we cannot avoid pain, but we can avoid suffering, he declared after 6 years of intense self-examination. What he uncovered was mind-blowing. Your suffering isn't a punishment or a personal failure. It's the inevitable result of demanding that reality be different than it is. Look around you. That CEO worth millions, lying awake at 3 a.m. terrified of losing it all. That influencer with 2 million followers, secretly contemplating suicide behind those perfect posts. That spiritual guru promising enlightenment, battling their own demons when the cameras stop rolling. The Buddha's first earth-shattering truth was simple. There is suffering, dukkha. Not just for you, for everyone who has ever drawn breath. This isn't some depressing philosophy. It's the most liberating realization you'll ever have. Why? Because the moment you truly accept that suffering is universal, something miraculous happens. You stop feeling defective. You stop believing you're the only one broken. The shame that's been suffocating you begins to dissolve. But here's where it gets revolutionary. Acknowledging suffering isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of freedom. As Buddhist master Thich Nhat Hanh put it, no mud, no lotus. Your darkest moments aren't meaningless torture. They're the exact soil from which your liberation will grow. The question isn't whether you'll suffer. It's whether you'll use it to awaken. The nature of thoughts and mind. Your mind is a liar, a brilliant, convincing, relentless liar, and you've been falling for its deception your entire life. That voice telling you, "I'm not enough," or "I'm broken," isn't speaking truth. It's running an ancient survival program that's now destroying your happiness. In Zen Buddhism, they call this the monkey mind, a wild, untamed beast swinging frantically from thought to thought, creating chaos where peace should be. Here's the shocking truth. 60,000 thoughts race through your mind daily, and neuroscience confirms that 80% of them are negative. Even worse, 95% are repetitive thoughts from yesterday, last week, last year. You're not thinking new thoughts. You're trapped in the same mental loops that have been torturing you for decades. But here's where everything changes. These thoughts aren't you. When anxiety floods your body, you've been programmed to say, "I am anxious." The Buddha discovered something revolutionary. There is no I that is anxious. There are anxious thoughts arising, existing temporarily, and passing away. They're visitors, not your identity. This single recognition has freed more people from suffering than perhaps any other insight in human history. Imagine watching your most painful thoughts like cars passing on a highway, visible, real, but not who you are. As the ancient Zen masters said, "You are the sky. Everything else is just the weather." This isn't spiritual poetry. It's the most practical psychological breakthrough you'll ever encounter. Mindfulness, the path to freedom. Now let's talk about mindfulness, possibly the most powerful tool in the Buddhist toolkit for dealing with suffering. But don't get confused by Instagram posts or trendy apps. True mindfulness is both simpler and more profound than most modern interpretations suggest. Mindfulness, or sati in Pali, the language of the earliest Buddhist texts, means maintaining a moment-by-moment awareness of your thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and environment. It sounds simple, but it's revolutionary when applied consistently. Think of it as developing a wise observer within yourself who notices without judging, witnesses without reacting. For example, when anxiety strikes, rather than being immediately consumed by it, mindfulness creates a tiny space, perhaps just milliseconds at first, where you can notice, anxiety is arising. This isn't about suppressing or changing the feeling. It's about changing your relationship to it. You're no longer identified as an anxious person. You're a human experiencing anxiety as a temporary state. But here's the kicker. Mindfulness isn't just about awareness. It's about the quality of that awareness. The Buddha taught that true mindfulness comes with qualities of kindness and curiosity. Imagine how differently you might relate to your stress if you approached it with the gentle curiosity of a scientist rather than the harsh judgment of a critic. Understanding this dynamic can be a game changer. It shifts the focus from "Why am I so anxious, depressed, stressed?" to "What is this experience teaching me?" It's a reminder that these mental states, while powerful, are not permanent features of your identity. They are more like visitors, sometimes staying longer than you'd like, but visitors nonetheless. Not self, the revolutionary insight. What if everything you believe about who you are is an illusion? The Buddha's most mind-blowing discovery wasn't about meditation or karma, it was about identity itself. He called it anatta, not self, and it's the psychological equivalent of splitting the atom. Explosive, world-changing, and capable of obliterating your suffering in an instant. Here's the bombshell. There is no fixed you being depressed. There is no permanent you feeling anxious. The self you've defended, protected, and tortured yourself over for decades. It's a mental projection, a story your brain manufactured and then forgot it was the author of. Think that sounds insane? Harvard neuroscientists studying the brain now confirm exactly what the Buddha discovered 2,500 years ago. Look at your own experience, right now. When you say, "I'm worthless," or "I'm a failure," you're not describing reality. You're creating it. You've merged completely with a thought pattern, like an actor who's forgotten they're playing a role. The thought, "I'm not good enough," isn't a fact. It's a temporary neural firing being misinterpreted as your identity. This isn't abstract philosophy. It's the most practical psychological insight ever discovered. When you shift from "I am depressed" to "I notice depressive thoughts arising," everything changes. The thoughts don't vanish, but their power over you collapses. As the Buddha declared, you are not your thoughts, nor are you the product of others' thoughts. This single realization has freed countless people from years of psychological torment, and it can free you too. Interconnection. You are not alone. Have you ever noticed how isolating suffering can feel? When you're in the depths of anxiety or depression, there's often a pervasive sense that you're completely alone in your experience, that no one could possibly understand what you're going through. This isolation isn't just painful, it's an illusion that Buddhism directly challenges. Buddhist philosophy introduces the concept of dependent origination, the understanding that nothing and no one exists independently. We are all interconnected in a vast web of relationships, causes, and conditions. Your suffering doesn't happen in isolation. It arises from countless conditions, many of which are shared by all humans. Look around you, behind the carefully curated social media profiles, beyond the casual "I'm fine" responses. Millions of people are experiencing similar struggles right now. The business person sitting next to you on the train, the celebrity you admire, the stranger across the street, all have known darkness, doubt, and pain. But here's the kicker. Recognition of this shared humanity isn't just a nice idea. It's a powerful antidote to suffering itself. When you truly understand that your pain connects you to others, rather than separating you from them, something profound shifts. Compassion naturally arises, both for yourself and for others. The next time something synchronistic happens, perhaps you hear a stranger describe exactly what you've been feeling, don't just shrug it off as coincidence. Take it as a reminder of our fundamental interconnectedness, a nudge from the universe that we're all in this together. After all, as the Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh said, we are here to awaken from the illusion of our separateness. Practical steps to freedom. So how do you actually escape the prison of your mind? I'll give you the exact 3-step process that's transformed countless lives, from anxiety-ridden executives to deeply depressed students to those suffering from PTSD. This isn't mystical nonsense. It's a precise mental technology tested over 2,500 years, now validated by neuroscience at Harvard, Stanford, and MIT. Step 1. Notice. When anxiety hits, stop everything. Take one conscious breath and ask yourself, what's happening in my mind right now? Don't analyze, just observe. This simple pattern interrupt creates a micro gap between you and the thought storm. Just 5 seconds of this awareness activates your prefrontal cortex and weakens the amygdala's fear response. This isn't meditation. It's mental jujitsu that works even in your most triggered moments. Step 2. Name. Look your mental monster in the face and label it. This is anxiety speaking. This is my inner critic. This is fear of rejection. Buddhist monks call this taking the witness stand. The moment you name the thought pattern, brain scans show your emotional centers immediately begin to calm. You've changed positions from helpless victim to conscious observer, and this shift changes everything. Step 3. Allow. Here's the counterintuitive magic. Stop fighting your thoughts. Fighting creates resistance, and resistance amplifies suffering. Instead, mentally step back and let the thought exist without feeding it more attention. As one Zen master put it, the mind is like a wild horse. Trying to control it only makes it buck harder. When you allow without engaging, you discover what every enlightened master has known. Thoughts lose their power when you stop believing them. If you want to dive deeper into these transformative practices, there's a life-changing book that breaks down these exact principles. The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. This isn't just another self-help book. It's a step-by-step guide to breaking free from the prison of your thoughts using the same ancient wisdom we're discussing. I've seen this book transform the lives of people who've struggled with anxiety and depression for decades. Practice these 3 steps daily, and within weeks, what once felt like a permanent part of your identity will be revealed as just passing mental weather. As the Buddha promised, you cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Your anxiety doesn't need years of therapy to heal. It needs a radical shift in how you relate to your own mind. And that shift begins right now. From suffering to compassion. Our minds are like gardens, with every thought and emotion representing seeds that we can either nurture or allow to pass. When suffering arises, don't beat yourself up or see it as a sign of weakness. Recognize it as an invitation to deeper understanding and growth. Because in the end, Buddhist wisdom teaches us something revolutionary. The path through suffering isn't about escaping pain. It's about transforming our relationship to it. And perhaps most beautiful of all, our own healing journey becomes a gift to others. When you learn to work skillfully with your own difficult emotions, you naturally develop the capacity to be present with others in their suffering. So take a deep breath, remember that you are not alone, and begin the practice of mindfulness not as a quick fix, but as a lifelong journey of discovery. As the Buddha said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Your suffering isn't a mistake or a punishment. It's a doorway to the peace that has been within you all along. The people who have found the deepest peace aren't those who've never suffered. They're the ones who've learned to transform their relationship to suffering. So take heart, be gentle with yourself, and remember, this ancient wisdom has helped countless people find their way through the darkest nights of the soul. You are not your thoughts, you are not alone, and the path to peace begins with a single moment of mindful awareness.